Welcome to What You Didn't Hear, the podcast that digs into the dusty corners of history to uncover what got completely ignored while something bigger hogged the spotlight. Sure, July 20th, 1969 is all about the moon landing. But did you know that on that same day the Soviet Union crashed an unmanned probe into the moon? Or that a major civil rights protest happened in North Carolina and barely made the news? Every time history zooms in on one big story, a dozen others slip through the cracks. That's where we come in. We're here to give the B-plots of history their moments in the spotlight. I'm Zane Gould, and you're about to hear What You Didn't Hear.
Hey, check it out. Back it up. Yeah. Drop it down. Make it shake. Ow! History. Yeah.
August 6, 1945 marks the date that the United States dropped Little Boy, the first of two atomic bombs, on Japan during the Second World War. However, throughout history, other events have taken place on this same day. In the year 258, Pope Sixtus II, the Bishop of Rome, was beheaded alongside Lawrence of Rome, making him the first Christian to be martyred by Emperor Valerian's persecution of Christians. In 1497, Italian explorer and navigator John Cabot, I might not be saying these names correctly, so I apologize, returns to Bristol from North America, making him the first European to make this trip successfully since the Vikings. His expedition made landfall in late June on either the modern-day island of Newfoundland or Cape Breton. Believing he had landed on the Asian continent, he claimed the land for England. The following year, he would attempt a return trip with a larger fleet, which would end in his death and an unsuccessful attempt to navigate across the open waters of the Atlantic Ocean. 1685, King Louis XIV gives the Code Noir decree defining the conditions of slavery in the French colonial empire. King Louis's decree mandated that all enslaved people within the French colonial empire convert to Catholicism, put restrictions on the activities of free people of color, and expelled all Jewish people from French colonies. Come 1806, the Holy Roman Empire is declared dissolved by Francis II. This topic alone could have an entire episode dedicated to it for a deeper dive, which may be something I would be interested in jumping into at a later date. However, for now, we'll stick to events taking place on August 6th and sum it up with this. The Holy Roman Empire, following a series of military defeats at the hand of Napoleon Bonaparte and Emperor Francis II, was forced to abdicate. If you would like me to do a more in-depth look at the closing of the Holy Roman Empire, please let me know. On a darker but still significant note, in 1890, the first person was sentenced to death by electric chair in New York. William Kemmler, a vegetable peddler in New York, brutally murdered his common-law wife, or girlfriend, Tilly Zegler, on March 29, 1889. He then went to his neighbor's house and announced his crime. On May 10th, he was convicted of first-degree murder, and after multiple appeals by Kemmler's defense, it was decided that he would be executed by electric chair. On the morning of August 6, William Kemmler was brought to the electric chair. Upon seeing the chair, he said, "Gentlemen, I wish you all good luck. I believe I am going to a good place, and I am ready to go." His last words were, "Take it easy and do it properly. I'm in no hurry." The first attempt was a 17-second shock of 1,000 volts. Kemmler was declared dead, but witnesses observed him breathing. The physicians ordered another shock be delivered immediately. The second shot delivered was 2,000 volts to Kemmler. Witnesses reported a horrible odor as his body caught fire. The New York Times ran the headline, "Far Worse Than Hanging," and George Westinghouse, the inventor of the generator used in the execution, stated they would have done better using an axe. This is another topic I would love to go even deeper into. Other than just the execution itself, there is a lot of politics, ulterior motives, and scheming behind this event. Now moving away from murders and executions, on this day in 1926, Gertrude Ederle became the first female to swim across the English Channel at 20 years old. Starting in Cape Grisnez in France at 7:08 a.m., and came ashore Kingsdown, Kent, after swimming for 14 hours and 34 minutes. This set the world record for that swim, both male and female. Gertrude held the record until 1950, and prior to Gertrude swimming the channel, only 5 men had completed the swim, with the best time being 16 hours and 33 minutes. In 1965, Ederle would be inducted into the International Swimming Hall of Fame, and later into the National Women's Hall of Fame in 2003. In 2024, a biographical film about her life, Young Woman and the Sea, was released. On August 6, 1961, the first case of motion sickness in space was reported and experienced by Soviet cosmonaut German Titov during the Vostok 2 mission. 1964, the world's oldest tree, at 4,862 years old, is accidentally cut down in Nevada. In 1965, President Lyndon B. Johnson signs the Voting Rights Act, prohibiting discrimination against minorities in voting. The World Wide Web debuts in 1991, when Tim Berners-Lee, a computer scientist, releases files describing his idea for the World Wide Web and debuts www as a publicly available service on the Internet. By 1995, the Internet would have an estimated 16 million users and reach 150 million by 1999. And finally, in 1996, on August 6, the Ramones would play their last concert at the Palace in Hollywood, California. Anything beyond the 1990s feels more like current events to me, and I won't be going that far. Additionally, this is only some of what occurred throughout history on August 6. There is a lot more to explore and learn about. And now it's time for Blind Date Through Time, the only dating show where our contestant, you, flirts with mystery and history to find a timeless connection. Here's this week's mysterious profile. Age, 55, but who's counting when you're eternal? Location, Rome, or wherever destiny calls. Height, tall enough to command legions. Occupation, statesman, general, dictator. About me, they say I came, I saw, I conquered. But there's more to me than war and wreaths. A lover of poetry, politics, and passionate debates over wine, I've crossed Rubicons and hearts alike. If you enjoy moonlit strolls through ancient forums or whispered conspiracies behind Senate curtains, we just might get along. If you have a guess for who this week's mysterious figure on Blind Date Through Time is, leave your answer in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this brief history podcast that goes over some of the other events that occurred on this day in history. Please leave a review, like, or comment depending on what platform you're listening on, and share this episode with your friends so we can continue spreading this. I appreciate you listening, so until next time,